The media quickly surrounded Wubin, asking for his opinion on the sentencing and whether he felt 15 years was fair, given that Kim had almost killed him. Wubin responded that he held no grudge against her and hoped that she would emerge from prison as a better person. He believed her words showed true regret, and if the judge deemed the sentence suitable, then it was fair. Outside the courthouse, Sonjin and Minsu stood together. Minsu expressed disbelief that Kim had actually pleaded guilty, admitting she didn't see it coming. Sonjin commented that perhaps Kim was playing mind games again and said he was just relieved that she was finally getting locked up and wouldn't cause more trouble. Wubin, overhearing them, joined the conversation and stated that he believed Kim had truly changed. Sonjin asked how he could be so sure, reminding Wubin that Kim had once played such a game and almost killed him. Wubin smiled and urged Sonjin to trust him. Minsu, curious, asked what he had done to Kim that made him so confident in her change. Wubin moved closer and said he had simply told her that life wasn't about holding grudges, but about letting go. Sonjin jokingly remarked that he didn't know Wubin's coma had turned him into a saint. Wubin laughed and replied that he had always been a saint. Looking around, he asked where Yuna was, stating that he hadn't seen her in the courtroom. Minsu informed him that Yuna had said she wasn't feeling well and couldn't attend. Concerned, Wubin bid them goodbye, saying he needed to check on his girlfriend. He got into his car, took out his phone, and immediately dialed Yuna's number. When she answered, he asked what was wrong, mentioning that Minsu had told him she was unwell. Yuna, in a low voice, said it was that time of the month, and she was experiencing painful cramps. Worried, Wubin asked if she had taken any painkillers. Yuna replied that she had, but they hadn't helped. Wubin told her he was coming over. When he arrived at his house, he found Tiana cleaning. He approached her and told her to stop and just relax. Tiana replied that she felt guilty for staying at his place without helping out. Wubin smiled and said maybe she could help him with something. Tiana agreed, saying he could ask her for anything. A bit shy, Wubin asked what he could do or buy for a girl experiencing painful cramps. Tiana laughed and asked if it was for Yuna. Wubin nodded. Tiana wrote a list and handed it to him. He looked at it and then at her, asking if he had to buy everything himself. Tiana nodded and said it was no big deal. Other men did it too. Wubin hesitantly accepted the list. Before he could leave, Tiana asked him to hold the list up so she could take a picture, saying she might need it in the future too. Wubin did as she asked, and she smiled as he walked out. Meanwhile, Kim's father stormed into his study and smashed everything in anger. He couldn't believe all his hard work was going to be destroyed by Kim's selfishness. Her statements in court painted him as a bad father who contributed to her becoming a criminal. He feared people would no longer want to associate with him. His stepdaughter walked in and tried to calm him down, reminding him it was bad for his health. She moved closer and said they could rebuild, and that it was good Kim was going to jail since she was no longer a threat. She promised that she and her mother would help him navigate the situation and urged him to ensure Kim never got out. Kim's father agreed, adding that she was actually smart and that he sometimes wished she were his biological daughter. His stepdaughter smiled and replied that being related by blood didn't matter. She had always considered herself his daughter. Wubin arrived at Yuna's house and the maid led him to her room. He found Yuna lying in bed holding her stomach. He walked over and gently called her. She weakly said she was in pain. Wubin sat beside her and took out the medication he had bought. He urged her to take it, saying Tiana had recommended it. Yuna asked if he had been talking to Tiana again. Wubin quickly denied it, explaining that he only asked for her help because she was a nurse. He helped Yuna sit up and take her medication, held her in his arms, and kissed her forehead, reassuring her that she would be okay. Yuna smiled and asked why he was suddenly being so close, given that he was still healing. Wubin replied that Tiana had told him girls needed their partners close during that time, and that this time he was making an exception. He lay with her, held her close, and gently massaged her stomach, telling her she would feel better soon. Meanwhile, Yuna's parents arrived at the house. Her mother mentioned that Yuna wasn't well and said she was going to check on her. Yuna's father agreed to go with her, and together they made their way to her room.